Welcome back, everyone. Well, I don't have to tell you that we're living in very divisive times. It seems that when it would be most important to come together on things to decide issues related to poverty or issues related to racism, we kind of go in our own camps. Well, to honor Martin Luther King, we should remember some of the things that he said about being inclusive, about talking to each other, about creating community. And there's an organization right here in Saratoga that's doing their best to do what I just said, and that's MLK Saratoga. And joining me today is a member of that organization, Holly Hammond. Welcome, Holly.
Thank you, Jesse.
Very nice to have you here.
Great to be back.
We just saw Holly the other night when we were over at Cafe Lena for an event sponsored by In Our Name, ION, about income inequality. And a bunch of us were talking, and we realized that you can talk about the power of military, you can talk about the power of aggression, but how about talking about the power of building an interconnected community where people, by communicating, by talking to each other, all levels, all ages, all races, get the opportunity to realize what we share in common and how that can best benefit the community.
Exactly.
You've been involved with MLK Saratoga for a number of years.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
What I just said, is that true?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's how, more than anything, the events we plan throughout the year are with the intention of bringing people together to have meaningful dialogue, getting to know each other, not just getting to know the issues, but getting to know each other.
Yes, I've got it. Now, MLK Saratoga, like a lot of organizations, tend to honor the anniversary of someone's birthday or something like that. And I think this did start that way because Martin Luther King's birthday is in January, I think, right?
Yes.
And so you'd honor his birthday. But MLK Saratoga decided, what you were telling me about 5 years ago, that they were going to have a series of events throughout the year so you wouldn't forget about what we're talking about.
Right, to keep the dialogue and the work going, that we don't want to just simply commemorate Dr. King's birthday. We want to continue his work because it's needed now more than ever. It's never been completed.
Yes, it's never been completed. In some ways, I think the most recent example of, and I don't want to go down this path necessarily, but what's just happened in Sacramento proves that the more things change, the more they stay the same. That's a kind of a lame way to put that, but it is really true. There's still a lot of work to be done. It was Martin Luther King that said, it's not about left or right, but it's about right or wrong. How do you feel, and the people that you talk to, how do you feel about the power of this, creating this interconnected community?
I think it's necessary. The only way we're going to bring about real change, and for me, that means justice and peace. And there's no peace without justice.
That's right.
As long as people are going without their needs being met, and I'm talking about basic needs, safety, home, food, so health.
Yeah,
so
sure.
without those needs being met, there is not going to be peace.
Right.
So we need to come together and see that we're all on the same side.
Right.
And if we don't come together, if we don't support each other rather than compete with each other,
Right.
we're never going to get there.
And there are plenty of people who would like to prevent that from happening, right? Divide and conquer.
Right. So if I can, a little history lesson, Dr. King spoke about the three evils being militarism, materialism, and racism. And now we add environmental destruction to that. And he saw the need to bring black, white, and brown people, all people together, so that they were striving and working together toward eliminating those three evils.
That's right. Or the necessity of relying only on those principles, right?
Right. And so he launched the Poor People's Campaign in 1968. He was assassinated April 4th, 1968, before the campaign was launched in the spring. And now there's been a call for a moral revival, a new Poor People's Campaign, which is being launched Mother's Day, May 13th, 2018.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, that's a little scary. And
you and I both, by the way, right?
And so that is really to bring all people together so that we're not competing. That it isn't, I think so many people are fed by some of our leaders. Some of those in power would like the working class white guy to feel threatened by immigrant labor. And that's just one example of how we divide and conquer that way.
That's right.
And so we're trying to rally people to get to know each other and support each other and see we all want the same things.
I've been to a few events recently that have really opened my eyes. I've been involved in media my whole life, and when you see a room full of people engaging each other of all races, all colors, coming at the topic from different directions, you don't see it as a threat to your position. You see it as a way of learning more, that what we can do collectively could affect change. There's an event coming up that I really encourage you to participate in. It's a silent march, and it's going to happen on April 4th, right here in Saratoga, which, by the way, is the 50th anniversary of the assassination of Martin Luther King. And it's going to be a quiet vigil. It's a walk down Broadway from the city center down to Congress Park. And then there'll be some speakers, and I believe that you're also doing an audio clip from Martin Luther King's speech the night before he was assassinated, right?
Right.
Well, I got news for you. There's a lot you can learn by just joining arms and joining hands with other people and just participating. You take a first step and you begin to learn something that really the light starts to go on, and you realize it's not all about separation. It's not all about your own particular power base, that it has really got a lot more to do with the power of the community.
And if I may add, even for people who feel like they don't have anything to learn, like they might feel like, I know all about this. It's about showing up and to show your support to all those people who don't feel heard, don't feel safe. The Saratoga Immigration Coalition organized a vigil and walk in support of the immigrant community last August. There was several hundred people came out for that, and the number of people who told me how much that meant to them, to feel like people need to see that people care.
Yes, that's right.
So caring in your home is different than showing up and carrying a sign, walking in silence as they did in 1968 after Dr. King was assassinated. That's why we are walking in silence.
That's right, sure.
This isn't going to be chanting. We're not going to be swinging signs around. We are going to be walking very solemnly down Broadway, holding signs that people held in 1968.
Boy, I really encourage you to be there. We're going to do extensive coverage of this just to prove the point. It's not one political party or another political party, one particular race, another particular race, certain income levels. It's about the community coming together just to say, hey, you want to know something? We share more than we probably realize. Let's learn from each other. It's April 4. I think it's like 5:30 or something, right?
5:30.
Okay, 5:30.
In front of the city center.
In front of the city center. Short walk down to Congress Park. And then the ability to communicate, participate, and listen to some of the words from Martin Luther King. Well, thank you, Holly, very much for coming in and letting us know about this. And we'll be there. We'll have some coverage, and we'll follow up with you on the other events you're going to have throughout the year.
Thank you for supporting us.
You're welcome. Nice to see you. To see this interview again, you can head to our website, looktvonline.com.